welcome to the Yarn Everywhere podcast. This is episode number 45. This is a crocheting and knitting podcast where I share with you all the things that I have going on and my plans for upcoming projects and just all the yarny things. So let me dive in and show you what I'm working on right now. I'm going to start with my favorite project right now, and it's my favorite for the last couple of weeks. And if you saw last week's podcast, I was a lot further along. And I finished this hat for my husband, and it was way too big because I went full Nicky, and I just jumped in super excited, barely paid attention to the pattern as far as, what type yarn I needed and all the things, how much yarn I needed. So I was halfway done with this hat and I realized I'm not going to have enough yarn because I didn't read the pattern. So I had to dye yarn for it. Let me just catch y'all up. I finished it. I finally finished it. I can't remember what night it was. I don't even know. But I was so excited to finish it. And I even weaved in the ends because this is one long tube. So it's going to look like this on the other end when I finish it again. I weaved in the ends before I started my decreases. That way it would just be done when I finished it. But before I weaved in the very last end, I'm like, let me have my husband try it on. So he tried it on and he even looked at it. He's like, I think that's going to be way too big. He's like, how big of a head do you think I have? He tried it on and immediately was just laughing his head off because it was way too big. So then I laughed and then I tried it on. It was way too big for him. So that means it was like humongous on me. And so, of course, I had to take some selfies and put it on Instagram and Facebook. And on one of them, I had flipped up the brim. I looked like a turtle. But I just had to share. I was sad that I was going to have to completely frog it and start over again. But honestly, I love making this hat so much that I don't mind making it again. I was just sad that my husband wasn't going to get to enjoy his hat because it's cold right now. And this is Mississippi. Next week we could have summer weather. We could have 70-degree weather. So while we have this cold weather, I want him to be able to enjoy his hat. So this is going to be my project this weekend. I restarted this. What night was it? I want to say it was Wednesday. No, I think it was Thursday. I think it was Wednesday night. I started this again because I really haven't had a lot of time to work on projects this week because it was ship out week for my monthly yarn club, and I shipped out everything on Wednesday. And I know when I finally got done, I needed just a quick project that made me feel super smart and almost like the instant gratification project. I'll get to that next. So I did not start the hat. Here it is. This is the Muscle Burrow hat. And I really love it. It was not the pattern. The pattern is great. I am the problem. The pattern is from fingering weight to DK weight. And I used worsted weight. So I only measured one time and didn't even think to measure again. So this is what I did this time. I took my husband's hat. My husband has no hat now. No, I'm kidding. He has more of these. But this is one of his favorite hats that he wears. And I took this hat, and this is what I did. I have double checked this so many times. I have a hat sizing chart. So what I did is I did my increases until I got the crown size that I needed for his head measurement. And then I checked that, and then I checked it up against this hat because I'm like, I am not making this hat again. So that's my plan, is just to keep kind of making sure it's right here. Also, I have a plan B this time. If it does not work out this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the yarn that he dyed, and I'm going to crochet him a hat with it. And then I'm going to dye more of this colorway in a DK weight and make him another knit hat. So if it doesn't work out this time, which I really feel like it's going to work out fine this time. So if it doesn't work out, I have a backup plan and he'll end up getting 2 hats. We shall see. I'm hoping that I'll be finished with this next week. This is my goal this weekend, is to get this done. Let y'all know next week. All right, moving on. to the same pattern, but this one is for me, and I'm a little worried about this one because it basically did the same thing, except for I am using DK weight. I think this one's gonna be too big for me, but I'm okay with that because one thing that I like to do is I like to throw my hair up in like a messy bun and throw a hat over it. So it's kind of nice to have that slouchy fit because I kind of look like a cone head. I'll have like my hair up in a bun and then I'll just have a hat over it. I don't even care. This is his hat for, I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Let's hug it up on one side. So yeah, I think it is going to be a little oversized. But I'm not, he may have two hats. No, I'm just kidding. I don't see him wearing this color. But I'm refusing to frog this one. I am over halfway, just a tad over halfway, and I'm okay with it being too big. At least that's my story right now. I may get brave and try it on and decide that I want to start over. I think what happened is you can make this pattern without gauge, but once you get to a certain point, you measure like how many stitches are in 1 inch. Then there's charts in the pattern that you base your stitch count off of. And I think what I was doing is I was getting excited and I was measuring too soon to where I wasn't getting accurate number. I think that was my problem. Those are my two favorite projects right now. Of course, my husband's is my favorite because I'm really excited. That one is special because he dyed that yarn and it's for him, and he very rarely asks for me to make anything for him. So that's why I'm like, I really want to get that done. Then I have a crochet project this week. Everybody give a round of applause. I'm totally kidding. But yes, I have a crochet project this week. And I'm super excited about this one. This is the start of a BrenLeigh scarf. And I'm about to frog this. I did not frog it this morning because I wanted to show it off. But here it is. Can you tell what color I'm liking right now? Of course, this sweater is like a year old. It's like my favorite cozy sweater. It has this right here. It says "Be kind." It's just a reminder in case my like gangster wants to come out. I can just be like, "Be kind." I'm kidding. But I love it. I think it's super cute. It's that, what is this called? The bleach sweater look? I don't know. But it was cute. It was my color. And I got it last fall. So as you can tell, I'm all about like pinks and grays. So this color, I almost used this color for a sweater I want to knit, but I think with my first knit sweater, I'm just going to do a tonal, and I'll tell y'all about that in just a little while. About this pattern, this is my BrenLeigh Scarf pattern. That is one of my very first designs, and it's one of those designs that every time somebody buys the pattern, I'm like, oh, because it's just, my old pattern format just makes me cringe. But I've also had so many people compliment it. They're like, oh, I love this. I love the layout of your pattern because it's so much easier. And now that I've learned to knit, I've noticed that my old pattern is almost like a knit pattern where you can like fold the paper in half and the pattern's on this side. And then as you go, you flip it over and the rest of the pattern's on that side. But for me, you know, the older I get, the more I need like large font, more words. So I don't like the layout of the pattern. Plus the way that I wrote it, you learn as you go. I just didn't know what I didn't know, but now that I know better, it just makes me cringe. So I am finally revisiting that pattern, and a bunch of my Yarn Club members have decided to pattern test for me. Let me tell you, I started the test yesterday, and I'm already having a blast because so many of them are using some of my hand-dyed yarns, and just seeing them, one, enjoy the yarn, and two, seeing some of those colorways work up that I didn't keep for me. It's just life right now. So as my testers were looking over the pattern, and one of them just jumped right in and started working right away, she was telling me about this row right here, this puff stitch row. It has always been a headache for me because the puff stitches make 2 stitches. So I had to do like some weird stuff to get the stitch count the same throughout. Anyways, she suggested that for this row, And for this row down here with the double crochet stitches, she suggested doing a stacked double crochet. And I'm like, I forget about that stitch. In fact, with my Sassy Wrap test, I had another tester suggest the stacked double crochet stitch, and I just keep forgetting about it. So I'm going to go back and work this with the stacked double crochet stitch because it makes these edges so nice. And it's going to make this row less funky. I'm excited about that, but let me tell you, I did a tutorial on this yesterday. I didn't do the full size. I did about half the size, just like a swatch. Plan on putting it on YouTube and linking it in the pattern. So that way, if you buy the pattern and you're more of a, I need a visual, I need a video tutorial, you'll have access to the video tutorial. So I filmed that yesterday and I was so proud of myself. I'm like, oh, look at me getting stuff done. And now I'm going to change it to the stacked double crochet. So I need to do another video tutorial. But I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have both options in the pattern. Or I'm going to change the pattern to the stacked double crochet and then have in the notes section how to just do it the traditional way. So I do think I'm still going to use that first video and then I'll just make another one. Why not? If I'm going to do double work, I might as well just do both videos. So that way it makes everybody happy. So that's what's going on with this, and I'm really excited to be getting this done because it has been on my to-do list for at least a year. But looking at that pattern and wrapping my brain around some of the things that were just kind of giving me a little hiccup in my brain, I just kept putting it off. So I'm glad that this is getting done, and I can't wait to show off my pattern testers BrenLeigh Scarfs. One of my pattern testers already has a good bit of it done, and I know a lot of my other ones are going to start on it this weekend, so I can't wait. Let me show you my last whip that I have going on right now, and it's one that's been going on for a while. It is the Avocardio sock, and I'm working on the decreases right now. I really miss knitting socks. It is one of my favorite things, but I'm having to limit the amount of time that I'm spending knitting socks because I really want to get the hat done. If I start knitting socks, that's all I'm going to want to do. In fact, I have some yarn caked up. I showed this off last week. This is from Christy at Stitchin with Yarn. This is the colorway called Rockstar, and when I saw it, I had to have it. In fact, after the podcast last week, I took some quick little videos and pictures of the hank of yarn before I caked it up. Then I went and looked at her shop and I'm like, oh man, there's 2 left and I really want them. So what I did is I shared it on Instagram and I'm like, somebody save me from myself and go buy this yarn so I don't. I lasted 2 hours. 2 hours later, I'm like, I'm buying it. They have had their chance. If they didn't buy it, it's mine. And before I could look at her shop, I had one of my Yarn Club members message me on Instagram and she's like, I was going to buy it and it sold out. I'm like, oh, which I'm sad that she didn't get it. But man, I was so relieved because my next step was I was supposed to go into her shop and buy at least 1 more, if not 2 more. So this is going to be the next pair of socks that I cast on. My goals this weekend are to finish my husband's hat. And then I'm going to finish these socks, which are actually for a friend. So I really need to get them done. Then I'm going to cast on these socks. And then I have something else to show you. Let me just show you this one more time. This is the Avocardio socks. I'm using the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock pattern. And I'm using yarn from Hypnotic Yarns. My friend Cheryl also has a monthly Yarn Club subscription, and I don't remember what month this was. Otherwise called Avocardio, and it was such a fun month. So I just called them my Avocardio socks. Here's the one that I have finished. I just need to get that second sock done. Oh, still haven't weaved in the ends. I'm just going to save them and just do all the ends at one time. Those are all the whips that I have going on right now. It's really hard not to start another whip because I have, like I said, I have these socks that I want to start, and then I have another project that I'm going to talk about in a minute that I'm super excited about, but also really nervous. So I need to get a few things finished before I start this project. It's kind of like one of those things where, there's something that you really want to do, but there's other things that you need to finish first. So that's like your reward. Like, okay, if I finish these, then I get to do this. Not that I don't want to do these projects, but I just get excited and I want to jump from thing to thing to thing, and then I don't finish anything. So I'm trying to like contain my excitement, get some things done. We'll see how long I last though. So I have one finished project. It was the one I was talking about where I needed just that instant gratification after having to frog the knit hat for my husband. I was like, I need something that makes me feel smart again. So I went back to crocheting because crocheting just makes me feel smart again. I know that some of you understand what I'm talking about. Like if you've been working on like a complicated project that's taking forever, you're just like, I just need something that's just simple, that I don't have to think about, that it's just easy. I decided to make a dishcloth. This is my sunshine dishcloth pattern, and I just love the texture of it. And of course, I did not weave in the ends. After I finished this, I come in here and I picked out 2 more colors to make some more, and they've just been hanging out on the arm of my chair ever since. I just haven't picked my crochet hook back up to make more dishcloths. I really need to update my dishcloths in my kitchen, so whenever I need to feel smart again, I'm just going to start making these. I can make one in like an hour, so that's always really nice. And this is a free crochet pattern on my website, so I will drop that link below. And if you like my other sunshine patterns, this is actually the pattern that started all of the sunshine patterns. I was on a trip in Arizona with my husband. I was like, I really want to design another dishcloth pattern. We were in Phoenix visiting my mom, and then we all took a trip to Laughlin, Nevada. And so I just remember designing this pattern so clearly. I was sitting in the sunshine next to a pool, just like completely relaxed. It was the best time to just sit in the sunshine. And if I got hot, I could go dip in the pool and then come back. So that is one of the reasons why I named this Sunshine, because I was just relaxing on vacation and doing what I love with the people I love. So it was such a fun time for me. And then who knew that this would start so many other patterns, because I just love this stitch combination. It's a little bit of the story behind my Sunshine collection. Now that you've seen what I'm working on, what I have finished, I am going to share with you some yarn news. The first thing that I want to share with you is the yarn that I dyed for the sweater I'm going to knit. Are you ready for this? Okay, I feel like, just to tease you just another minute longer, like, can you guess what color it is? Just take a minute and just guess. I feel like most of you that know me are probably going to guess it right away. Okay, are you ready? I'm obsessed. I did a custom color that I took notes on because I know I'm going to want to repeat this. And also, I don't know if this is going to be enough yarn. That way I can dye more. Okay, are you ready? Who guessed pink? But how gorgeous. Oh, like this right here, okay, makes my heart smile so much. Like, look, I'm just gonna hug it. Oh, isn't it pretty? Okay, seriously, look at that color. My mother-in-law and father-in-law come by yesterday. Let me tell you how sweet and how sweet they are and how blessed I am. She called me yesterday morning, and she knows that ship out week is like crazy week for me. And she called me yesterday morning and she's like, well, we're going to town to get groceries today. Do you need anything? And I'm like, oh, man, saving me a trip. And I was like, yes, I do. So she picked up a few things for me, and then she even called my husband, and then he had her pick up a few things. So they not only picked up some things at the store for us, but delivered them to me. How sweet is that? So anyways, they stopped by to deliver my groceries to me. It wasn't much, but they're so precious. And I had to show her the yarn, and she even loved it. She's like, that's going to be so pretty. So I can't wait to get started, but I know that once I get started on this knit sweater, I'm not going to do anything else. At least I don't feel like I will. So I'm waiting until I get my husband's hat finished. That's the other thing. My husband's excited about his hat. So if he sees me working on something else, he's like, hey, how's my hat coming? And I'm like, dude, it's coming. Even after I frogged it, he's like, where's my hat? And I'm like, well, it had little kinks in it, so I had to put it on my Swift, and I got my steamer out and steamed it, and then I just let it sit there so it would all go back to its normal shape so I could restart it. Plus, I just didn't want to deal with it for like at least a day. I just had to sit in timeout for a day, let me figure out my plan, and go from there. If he sees me cast on a new project, or he's probably going to be like, hey, where's my hat? Then I'm going to have to like hit him with yarn. Just kidding, not going to hit him with yarn. Thought about it. I'm making myself wait, and I really wanted to get some pictures of this yarn and show it off on the podcast. So here it is. One more look at it. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be gorgeous. I left my phone on the charger, so I am going to drop a picture right here of the sweater that I'm going to knit with this, so you can see it. I'm obsessed with the way that sweater looks, and I hope that I can pull it off. I cannot remember the name of the pattern. I think it's called the Comfort Sweater, but I'm not sure. I will put a note on here and let you know what the name of the pattern is, and I will also post a link below, so if you want to go check them out on Ravelry, you can. I went back and forth about what pattern I wanted to do, and I even asked on Instagram about it. I was gonna do one by Tin Can Knits because that was like the most popular answer to the question. Somebody suggested Sweater Patterns by Jador, and they said that in the pattern there are all kinds of like great video tutorials, and I'm such a visual learner. I'm like, that is what I need for my first knit sweater. So that's the reason why I went with that one. But I do have Tin Can Knits, and I can't remember the other one. My friend Cheryl recommended several to me, and I can't remember what they are, but I have those saved in my favorites because I feel like once I make my first one, I'm going to want to make more. But I'm not going to lie, I'm super intimidated. I'm like, can I pull that off? Not just that, but the other part of it is like, I feel like it's going to be a long project, and I get bored easily. So I'm like, am I going to stick with it? I think so. Especially when you see the pattern, because it's kind of plain Jane, but it has just these like little pops of things. Like, I love the sleeves, and I love the ribbing on the bottom. Even though everywhere else it's just basic stockinette, the textures on the cuff and the collar and the ribbing, I think, are what are going to keep me interested. One last look. I believe last week I showed you some of the Valentine colorways that I had coming. They are now in stock in my yarn shop, and let me show you them all twisted up. So this is Not Today Cupid. It is so pretty. I love black and pink and red together. Not gonna lie, I'm definitely thinking socks. But so far, I have not kept any of the Valentine colorways for myself yet, because I want to give my Yarn Club members a chance at them, and then I wanted to give everybody else a chance at them. But the clock is ticking on this one. I'm thinking like by Monday, if I haven't sold out of this color, I'm getting one. At least one for me. And then this is I'm Yours, and it is almost the same as this one, except for this one has red speckles where this one has black speckles. And I really like this one too. My plan was to do all of them as Not Today Cupid, but I chickened out. I was like, oh, that's a lot of black. What if everybody hates it? And then I loved the way that this looked, and I'm like, oh. So I only did half the batch with the black speckles and then did red with the other ones. And I love how this one turned out. But this is definitely my favorite. So I'm thinking that if some of these don't sell and all of these sell, I may throw these back in the pan and speckle black over them. We'll see. Then the other one is Wine and Roses. I am not a huge fan of red, I don't know why. I think it was because I loved red several years ago, and it was like red everything, red everywhere, kind of like I am about pink. And so I think I just burned myself out with red, but whenever I dye reds, I'm like, oh wow, that's really pretty. Why don't I use red more often? Look at that. It's so pretty. And these speckles here are actually burgundy, even though they look black. So I still have some of these in my shop. I have them available on worsted, DK weight, and sock weight. I actually think the DK weight on this one sold out, but I'm not sure. I should have looked beforehand, but I forgot to. Then I have some Valentine mini sets. Let me tell y'all, I completely overwhelmed myself when I was getting ready to list all these on my website because I took pictures of these with like 2 of these, but there were so many different ways that I could pair it. But then I'm like, well, what if somebody just wants this and they actually don't want a mini? Finally, I posted in my yarn club and I'm like, help me out and let me know what you want and what your opinion is. Should I just sell them as a separate set, or should I pair them for you? And most people said just sell them as a set, because where I would pair like this color, I would pair it with that. Like especially since I'm thinking socks, I would pair it with like this color and maybe this purple. That's what I would choose. Or purple and the red, or the red and the black, or like the pink and the red, the pink and the black. You see where I'm at? So I was like, I wore myself out. And before I thought to post in my yarn club, I was in here taking pictures of everything. Y'all, I took pictures for so long. I was in my recliner. I was like, oh, my back. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let them help me decide. And they were so sweet to help me out. Because even with this, like I would have picked, like I think that is a gorgeous combination. But again, these could go with that. So finally, I decided the mini sets, and I think they're adorable. I love minis. So these are also available in the yarn shop. I have these available on sock and DK weight. Then I have worsted weight available, but the cute, pretty little pink one is not available on worsted weight. I just have these 4 because I can't count. And I was going to dye these, and when it was time to dye the pink ones, I grabbed sock weight, I grabbed DK weight, and then I went to grab worsted weight, and I'm like, where's the worsted weight? And I'm like, oh no. And I really just did not have time to go find some, prep them, all the things. So I'm just like, we're just not going to have pink for worsted weight this time. So the worsted weight bundle is just 4 colors. Now let me show you what I actually did keep, because I could not part with this set, okay? And I do feel a little guilty, but I let my favorite set go into the shop and it sold, and it was really sad, but I couldn't part with this one. This is a 50-gram mini, and I called this one Speckle Love. How pretty is that? I love it. So when I put it in the dye pan, I just speckled the mess out of it because I had no plan. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to speckle because I want to speckle. So that's what I did. And then I'm like, after I did that, I was like, oh, I need something else. So I did just the palest pink color, and I love it. Now I want to do so many different colors like this. Like I want to speckle, and then I want to do like a pale blue, a pale turquoise, a pale purple. I just think, and then like change the colors of the speckles. I think it would be so pretty. This one is a mini that I had left over for something, and I actually had it in the pan with this one, and it got the same speckles. I also had like a pretty turquoise color, and I think another pink. I can't remember. It went with another set, the purple one. So this is the set I kept for me. And in case you're wondering what I'm going to do with it, I'm really thinking socks. Also thinking juniper cowl. Both of those popped in my head when I saw these. So I'm just going to keep these and let them hang out in my stash until I decide what I want to do with them. but I wanted to show you which one I kept for me. That's all that I have in yarn news, except for, I think I already told you earlier in the episode, all of my Yarn Club packages shipped out on Wednesday. On Thursday, I had like a really easy day. I took my time in the morning and just relaxed. I watched some TV and I knit and I got a bunch of computer work done, like my BrenLeigh Scarf pattern that I've wanted to put into testing. And I got all my listings updated on my website, just all the things. Plus, I got my house back in order. You can now walk in my front door without being bombarded by yarn. When my mother-in-law first walked in my house yesterday, she's like, wow. Like, I don't know the last time that she saw my house without literally yarn everywhere. So it was so nice to get that looking like a living room and dining room again. And then the never-ending laundry. So even though I took an easy day yesterday, I did get some housework done, and it felt really good to just like get things done that were really bothering me, but I could not dedicate time to. You know what? I completely forgot to tell you about the camo yarn. I have had so many requests for this yarn that I've decided to take pre-orders for it. And the listing is now up on my website. The reason I'm taking pre-orders for this is that way everybody can get the amount that they want on the yarn weight that they want. So I have 3 yarn bases. I have my worsted weight, I have my DK weight, and I have my sock weight yarn. And with the pre-order, you can go in and order whatever weight you want and whatever quantities you want. And then what I do is I will close the listing after about a week, order all the yarn that I need to order, then dye all the orders at one time. And it makes life so much easier for me because I'm not trying to guess, well, maybe this much of worsted weight to sell, or maybe this much of DK. And then I have somebody at the end that's like, oh, you ran out of sock weight, you wanted sock weight. So pre-orders just makes it easier on me, and it makes everybody happy because they get the amount that they want. So these are available right now to pre-order, and all of the orders will ship on or before March 3rd. I like to give myself a long window because you just never know with shipping and things like that. My goal is to have them shipped out around the 25th of February when I do my Yarn Club ship outs. But I wanted that extra week of, just in case something crazy happens, I'm not going to disappoint anybody by it going out late. If you are a Yarn Club member and you want to add these to your February Yarn Club package with no extra shipping, I will have a listing up next week for that. And I will also have the Hints of Spring that sold out and didn't make it out of the Yarn Club. I will also have that available for ordering to add to your February Yarn Club package. So if you want to save some money on shipping and you're a Yarn Club member, just wait for those listings to be up, and I will make an announcement inside the Yarn Club. So this is the camo yarn, and it is the color that I'm using to knit the muscle burl hat for my husband. And I know that I am going to be claiming some of these for myself. I want some on sock weight to make some socks, and then I want some on DK weight because I know I want a hat, and I'm thinking about making some hats for some of my favorite people too. So we'll see how that goes. I have one more announcement to make. Next Thursday, February 2nd at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, my friend Elizabeth over at Busy Crochet will be interviewing me on her YouTube channel. It will be a live interview, and there will be a Q&A at the end. So you can come ask me anything, come hang out with us and join in the fun. And also, like, I need my friends to be there. So you can see some familiar names that say hey to me and all the things because I'm super nervous. I don't mind talking about like crocheting and knitting and yarn and all the things. Elizabeth and I have kind of known each other in the designer, the crochet world for, oh goodness, 3 or 4 years now. So it's not that I am nervous chatting with her. It's the whole talking about myself. Like, I'm not good at talking about myself. I get so awkward. So knowing that some of you that come hang out with me on my podcast are going to be there watching, I think it'll just make me feel a little bit better. So if you have a chance, next Thursday, February 2nd at 1 p.m. Central Time, come hang out. I will post a link below, and I really think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to make me get out of my comfort zone and talk about myself a little bit. So if you've been curious about anything, come hang out with us. All right, y'all, that is all that I have for this week. I'm hoping that after a restful weekend and somewhat lazy weekend, that I will have a lot of finished items to show y'all next week. So until then, happy yarning.